Hi everyone, welcome to EDU511 Inclusive Methods for Teaching Diverse Populations of Young Children. I'm Dr. Andrea Brunell and I will be your instructor for this course. Please excuse my voice. I've had a terrible cold that I'm just getting over and I have a little bit of laryngitis, so hopefully this will get better. So this course is really for us to be looking at both the theory and the practice of inclusive teaching and diverse populations of young children. The book that we are going to be using is a publication from the National Association for the Education of Young Children. You can see it right here, Developmentally Appropriate Practice in Early Childhood Programs. Most courses I teach do not have textbooks, but for this course as it was designed, I really want you to be able to have this book, have it on your desk, have it be a working tool for you throughout your career. This is the fourth edition, and I have been in education for over 35 years in early childhood, and I have had every edition of this book. It's a really, really important book. So some of you may already be familiar with it. So that is our text that we're going to be basing a lot of our learning on for this course. So we're going to be primarily looking at preschool through second grade level. And why don't we hop right in to our first module? Oh, and before I forget, I am going to be sending out a calendar invitation for a synchronous meetup. This is an optional meeting. I'm going to schedule it for Sundays, most Sundays, not all, but most Sundays at 7 o'clock. It is optional. I have found that students who really appreciate some portion of traditional learning, like having that face-to-face time with their classmates and with me, it's a good time to ask any questions about any assignments, about any of the materials, or really just to get to know your colleagues in the class a little bit better. We will try it for a few weeks and see if people want to participate, and certainly will reserve the time for the rest of the semester if it's something that we do have participation in. And I really hope you do. It's really nice to get to meet some of you in real time. So again, that will come out as a calendar invitation for most Sunday nights at 7. There is going to be a week that I'm actually going to be away, that I'll have limited access. So that will be one of the weeks that we won't be doing this. And there may be a few weeks here and there. Anyhow, so we have the textbook, the synchronous meetups, and let's dive right into week one's module. And I will be posting a video announcement every week to go over anything that I noticed when grading your assignments from the previous week and to introduce the material for the next week. So in module one, you're going to begin your dive into your textbook. You're going to be reading the statement on developmentally appropriate practice that's in the book. And then I also have links to two other parts of materials for you to look at. A brief about the science of early childhood development. And I'd also like you to look at the Center on the Developing Child at Harvard University. There's a guide to brain architecture. And if you would like to explore any more on the site, feel free. Your assignments this week are going to be a discussion. And that first discussion is really going to be to introduce yourself and tell us why you're taking this class. What are your learning expectations for the class? And which of the 9 principles of the DAP that you've read about surprised you and why? Remember that your initial post to the prompt should be completed by Thursday, and your additional 3 responses to either myself or your colleagues in the class should be made by Sunday at midnight. If you are late with your initial response to the prompt, you won't be graded on the top 2 sections of the rubric. And in mentioning the rubric, that's something I recommend to everyone, is before you do any assignment, whether it be a discussion or a general assignment, make sure you review the rubric first. And that way you will know exactly what's expected of you and you won't miss out on any of your points. In the discussion, I do expect that you will use references and in-text citations to make connections to your learning. So in this case, you're going to be citing the 9 principles of DAP and any other research that you have done about why this surprises you. This is especially important for your initial response to the prompt. And if you, again, have any questions, always feel free to send me either an email or a message through Canvas. And if you want to meet with me in real time, just send me a message and we will set up a time to talk. Your assignment this week is going to be to create either a video or an infographic. And you're going to be doing this from a family viewpoint. So I want you to be able to have this presentation or this infographic be something that you're designing for the audience of families. So what is developmentally appropriate practice? What is DAP? Why is it important for young children and their learning and development? And what does it look like in a classroom or in play or with regard to how families interact with one another and with their children? And then how can families or communities support developmentally appropriate practice? Remember that your work really should be very visually engaging and also accessible to people who aren't educators, so they don't have all the jargon. We all know that when you get into a room full of educators, we have our acronyms and our jargon, and it sounds like we're speaking a totally different language. So make sure that as you're thinking about this assignment, think of your audience, which is families, and make sure that the reading level is appropriate. And that the language is appropriate and that you really define any terms you're using. I want you to be able to show a very deep understanding of the NAEYC core considerations and principles. You should show respect for cultural, linguistic, and individual diversity. And then again, remember your references and citations in either your infographic or in your presentation. You can always do them verbally in a presentation too. So you can say, according to blah, 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 and then have your references at the end, or you can do it traditionally with a number and then reference to the resources at the end. So remember that all options need to include references and citations. If you feel more comfortable, they can be submitted as a separate document. Like you could do the infographic and you could have in-text citations on it, and then separately do a document that has all of your references because they likely would not fit onto an infographic. If you have any questions, feel free again to reach out. I usually will respond to people within a few hours. If you don't hear back from me within 24 hours, for some reason I haven't gotten your message. So please reach out to me again. I want to be as responsive to you as I can. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of you over the course of this course. Take care, have a great week, and I'll be seeing you hopefully in one of the coming Sunday nights. Take care.